Corporate Greed is Ruining Gen Z by Tokamon. Title pretty self-explanatory, so let's just hop into it, bro.
The term enough money definitely varies from person to person. For someone, it can mean just making enough to live comfortably, own a house, maybe even raise a family. For others, it can mean just earning enough to pay that guy off Craigslist to meet you behind Walmart. Meanwhile, others can be the richest people on the planet, owning all—
Wait, do people still do that? Like, I ain't gonna lie, I've never been on like Craigslist or OfferUp or any of them sites where you like meet up with people and sell shit. I ain't gonna lie, I don't trust that shit. And even if you do, I feel like you should be meeting up at like in front of a police department or something. I don't know, but if you're doing that shit, be safe. But that's crazy though. I wouldn't be surprised if niggas be using that shit to get like on some freak type shit, bro. That's wild.
Almost half of the world's financial assets and still do their best to avoid paying any taxes. Ooga booga 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 booga. Here comes the tax man. Just leave me alone. I mean, come on, guys. Can you really blame them? How else are they—
Jeff Bezos spent tens of millions on the Italian wedding. The affair, which ends Saturday, June 28th, was his third official day of festivity, is estimated to cost $50 million.
supposed to afford their $50 million wedding? What, are they supposed to not make their workers pee in bottles? Anyways, this entire thing got me thinking about how greedy corporations and CEOs are. Like, goddamn, you're not even trying to hide it anymore. Strategies of high corporate greed is so much more obvious right now than it has ever been. And if it weren't already obvious, some people are not too pleased about this.
Oh, he talking about the bull Luigi. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, free that nigga. That's all I'm gonna say.
Like, come on, how is it legal to say that you're having a sale when in reality it's the exact same price, or just straight up shrinking the products and still making it more expensive? For example, since—
Yeah, that cooked me, bro. You know, one thing where that happened with that really made me upset, like, actually, I'm gonna get two examples. The fucking Simply Orange juice, bro. It used to be in, like, these large bottles, like, and you'll be able to get them joints for, like, I don't even know the price, but they got the large bottles, and they basically slimmed down the fucking containers, bro, where they took away, like, an ounce or two and still charging the same fucking price. Like, that's insane. Like, that's actually insane. And then even with, like, the wet wipes that you use, like, all right, real niggas know if you go to the bathroom, you're not really clean unless you either use the bidet or you're using the wet wipes, bro. You're not clean. I don't give a fuck what you say. You're not clean if you're not using one of them too, bro. I don't give a fuck. You dirty as shit. You shitty booty ass nigga. But the wet wipes, the ones that I get, they come 60 in a pack. You can get 2-pack for like $7, right? Bro, they got it to now you get 50 per pack in the 2-pack, and it now costs like damn near $8, bro. Like, that shit should be cooking me, gang. And then I just bought a 3-pack online. That shit, same thing. 3-pack, 50 each one. So 150 wipes. But you're paying 15 and some change. So that math ain't adding up, bro. Because 2 of the joints, that's not even, like, bro, they scamming, bro. I didn't even peep until I got this shit, gang. Like, they scamming, bro.
2020.
Wow. Bro, I don't know what's up, bro. My YouTube Red not working properly.
I have watched my grocery store slowly increase the cost of a block of cheddar cheese from $6.99 all the way to $10.99. That's time frame
crazy.
shorter than the average presidential term. I was 18 years old when this was the price. I'm 21 now. What the fuck, man? Now, the most obvious solution would be, okay, cut cheese out of your diet. Switch to Kraft singles. Are you listening to yourself right now? First off, cheese is awesome. Second off, I thought we were supposed to be worrying about microplastics, not eating them. But you know what? I do hear—
You know what's crazy about that? I always did, like, think growing up that them little single wrap cheeses, that shit just looks like plastic. It doesn't even look real, bro. Like, the amount of shit that they feed us and they, like, try to, like, price us out of, and then they introduce these alternatives that literally just look fake. Like, bro, they trying to keep us sick, bro. But my thing is, like, I also don't get is how are they trying to poison us and fuck us up that much, but at the same time want us to run their fucking companies, factories, all that shit, bro. So who the fuck do y'all think is going to be running shit in the future? Bro, you know what? I'm getting too deep in it. Fuck it. I'm getting way too deep into it.
what you're saying. Cheese is a little bit— that's not too necessary, right? Let's try something else like egg.
18 eggs for $16? Nah, bro. Nah.
Dollars. For the what? The result of 2 chickens having a good time? I know that gym bros are in shambles. I'm sorry, guys. Now, with tariffs affecting imported eggs and a sudden outbreak of bird flu, that caused an egg shortage, which meant that there was higher demand for an everyday product, which meant that if you found them, you'd be willing to pay almost any— wait a second. Raising prices will affect anybody who doesn't wipe their ass with $100 bills. Hold on, do you guys hear what's coming? Because I do. Here comes the money. That being said, grocery store prices are always slowly gonna get more expensive over time because that's just how inflation works. Old people are always talking about how crazy inflation is because they would never spend more than $1 on a week's worth of groceries. Back in my day, I could use a quarter to raise an entire family. And my secret one in
Bro, I seen a TikTok. They was talking about it was like these two old white people, and they was talking about some retiring in our like multi-million-dollar house that we bought for like $20,000 back in the 70s. Like, bro, I'm like, how, gang? Like, how? We're fucked. The average price of new home buyers is like 50 something. Birth rates are declining. We're fucked, honestly.
Nah, companies are always gonna hide behind inflation and use it as their first excuse when people criticize them for making prices go way out of control. Now, if you really think the dick tastes that good, then that's fine. In this scenario, let's say the only reason prices are so expensive isn't because of corporate greed, but simply because of inflation. If that's the case, then what is the possible excuse that anybody can possibly think of when it comes to shrinkflation? This is probably the most obvious form of corporate greed on the planet. It is so ridiculous.
Bro, I knew I wasn't fucking tripping. The size of a Snickers has shrunk dramatically, gang. Bro, and what's crazy is the packaging is making it the same, like bigger than that. All reality, the big and that's the same actual size. The big lighter is actually a little bigger. Like, width-wise. Like, that's insane, bro.
Corporate greed on the planet. It is so ridiculous how companies are just allowed to...
Bro, same shit, bro. Bro, the Pringles can used to be big as shit, bro. Now look at that shit. Look at that shit. And then the shit costs more. Because this used to cost like $1 and some change. This shit probably costs like $3 or $4.
Take a product that was a certain size and slowly shrink it down because, oh, the consumer isn't gonna notice. How stupid do you think the average person is? What, you think people aren't able to tell that you're keeping lemonade at...
Yep, knew it, bro. This right here, 52 fluid ounces, 32 fluid ounces. All they do is keep the same shape, slim it down a little bit, and put the same price tag on that shit.
$2.99, yet shrinking it by 30%? They slowly shrink the portion size that they're giving you because they know inflation is eventually gonna make things more expensive while selling you less product. It's not even necessarily just groceries, it's fast food too. Maybe I'm living in a fantasy land, or the Mandela effect just seems to be really strong nowadays. But I could have sworn there was a time period where fast food burger patties weren't thinner than an Oreo. You can't even deal with the aftermath of fast food. Taking a shit and not be affected.
Bro, I swear to God.
You can't even deal with the aftermath of fast food. Taking a shit and not be affected by shrinkflation. Look what they're doing to toilet paper. Again, this isn't just for food products. No, this is for things like a house, a place to live. The average age in the US for home buyers has now jumped to 56 years old. No, let me put this into perspective. 56 years old. Provided you're not some mythical eldritch elf being from the Lord of the Rings universe, your life is already more than half over at this point. Maybe you can buy a house because it's not even guaranteed. This is partially due to people buying so much more property, yet nobody actually living in them. Companies are even buying up multiple houses, and instead of, you know, housing themselves with it, they just let it sit there vacant as it creeps up in value over the next 30 years. 4 years ago, we had to sell our childhood home, and it was bought up by an investor. As soon as we moved out, this guy tore down the house, built 2 new houses, each of which having 3 units, and over the past 3.5 years, every single one of these units, except for one, has been left vacant. And I have a slight hunch that the reason it's not a hot commodity on the market and selling fast like hotcakes is maybe because this company is trying to rent it out for $2,500 a month for this tiny ass space cosplaying as a New York City apartment. This is ridiculous. Who is going to voluntarily live in here? An Oompa Loompa? I've seen apartments in New York City more spacious than this, but granted, that's like comparing having a wet fart to in your pants. Like, they're both really bad. There's an area in New York City called Billionaires Row where the majority of the real estate is owned by billionaires and left completely vacant. You can't convince me this isn't some super deep-rooted money laundering scheme going on within the ultra-wealthy.
Bro, that shit should be illegal, cuz. Like, how can you just have properties like that and nobody live in them? Like, that's genuinely a waste of space at that point. Like, but we have a housing crisis, overflowing homeless shelters. We have, like, bro, it don't even make no sense, gang.
Are they using Pokemon cards? Well, that statement aged like milk. The currency used by the ultra-wealthy indeed wasn't Pokemon cards or even money. It was children. Now, I'm not sure about what you think, man, but raising the prices on these things? Yeesh. Not the greatest look, man. I've had poops in my toilet that look better than this. But would you believe me if I were to tell you that these two things are like putting droplets of water into the ocean? They are absolute nothingness in comparison to the practices of insurance firms. These businesses are so evil and lucrative, somehow even worse than reselling fake designer on Depop. In case you're not up to speed on what insurance is, let's say you're paying a health insurance company $150 a month, and that's on the lower end. You pay this company monthly, so that way if you need to go to the hospital, the insurance firm covers a lot of the costs for the medical bills, so that way you're not in crippling debt because of that time you tried to recreate a jackass stunt when you were 12 years old. That's the beautiful concept that is health insurance. Now, is that actually how it works? Son, I'm crying. You think the premium service you pay for is actually gonna provide for you?
Nope.
Get a load of this fucking poron, am I right, guys? Time and time again, health insurance firms have been caught doing their absolute best to weasel their way out of doing the exact service that people are paying for. See, health insurance firms do their absolute best to make it as vague as possible. They only cover certain procedures in certain hospitals by certain doctors. They on purpose make it as vague as possible, so if you come to them and make a claim, you best believe they are going to do their absolute best to go deep within their book as big as SpongeBob's active routine
to find some type of article or document that just loophole them out of whatever fucking responsibility, even though that's not what it was originally written for, in order so that you can be fucked into paying a fucking $20,000 medical bill on a fucking, which is like half your fucking yearly salary, bro. It's insane.
Manual and say that, well, if you pay attention, according to the fine print located on section 23, paragraph 7A, your claim doesn't fall under insurance policy. The main goals of these companies aren't to treat people and keep you as healthy as possible. No, their main thing and main goal is to maintain as much profit as possible. And the way they do so is by keeping costs as low as they can. It's never going to be in the best interest about you. How can you get the best quality care out of this? No, it's always going to lean more towards how can we save as much money as possible. Ugh, God, this stupid poor person keeps crying about his leg. Do we need to put a cast on it? I have a saw. This is in no way the fault of any doctor or healthcare professional out there. I know it's insane to believe, considering they're doing every insurance company's worst nightmare, but they're actually treating their patients like human beings. Ew, the way that you're treating them, it's so gross. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go pay a 60-year-old immigrant from El Salvador to clean my entire penthouse for $12. Here's a letter coming from United Healthcare denying a specialized wheelchair for a child, claiming it is not medically necessary, yet at the same time acknowledging that it is. Here's another one that a doctor wrote to United Healthcare after they denied nausea medication for a child on chemotherapy. Listen, I am in no...
All I'm gonna say is United Healthcare, that's the same company that old boy was a part of, right? Old boy who got that air conditioning compartment installed in the back of his head. Oh my God, Luigi. I don't give a fuck anymore. We need more shit like that. Maybe then they'll start lowering the prices of shit. Like, shit, where the copycats at? I ain't gonna lie.
Way condoning anything. Do not take words out of my mouth. But are they really still clueless?
Yup.
Again, not condoning anything, just some food for thought, a lead sandwich for thought. And yet, believe it or not, even after all of this, there are still dinguses, idiots, who will do their absolute best to defend these billionaires and corporations as much as they possibly can. They sit there in their trailer park house on their verified Twitter account, tip-tapping away about, please, we can't tax them higher amounts. If we do that, they're gonna leave. Hey man, do you know how much of an idiot you sound like right now? Just because you're defending these ultra billionaires, they're not going to reach out to you personally and give you their pocket change of $20,000. More than anything, I bet what's actually happening is they're sitting in their $20 million house in Calabasas, Los Angeles and thinking,
A sucker is born every day.
They are not on anybody's side but their own. There's
own.
so much more I can say, but I just don't have the time. I'm definitely gonna make a part 2 to this. I'm sorry.
And I'm here for it,
so
gang.
sick right now. Make sure to follow my Twitter, my Twitch, and my Instagram.
Shout out Talking Mind, gang. Everything he said in this shit was facts, bro. Like, I don't even know what I can say to add on to that shit. Just check out my boy. Fuck with him.
Get him going, coughing up the slide.